our last segment was amazing.
Yeah.
Because we learned so many different things as far as how to maintain our safety outside, out and about, how to address and interface with the police officers when you get pulled over. So that's some really good information. So make sure that you watch part 2.
Yeah.
This segment, we're going to talk about our kids and just keeping them safe and being able to educate them well enough so that they will be respectful of the police and they know how to detect suspicious behavior and what to do with that.
Right.
So Captain Rice, kind of take us through some steps as far as like if you do see suspicious behavior, like when I was telling you and Joy about being at Starbucks and somebody looks suspicious, even if they're not doing anything and you just kind of don't feel comfortable, what do we do in that kind of a situation?
Well, you know, several years ago there was a saying that was started. It was saying, if you see something, say something.
Right.
So we'd rather be on the safe side
Right.
Versus them being sorry later, and allowing the officers to be able to check the situation out and determine if criminal activity is indeed afoot. If it's not, then we'll push on. We will document that, you know, we did make contact with the citizen, because that's our policy to document the interaction between an individual. And but we rather you speak up.
Right.
Because, you know, you may stop a crime that was about to occur. And, you know, some people call it their spidey sense. Some people call it their gut sense. I call it my God sense, you know.
I like
and
that.
so, you know, if it doesn't feel right, it might not be right. So again, just if you see something, say something. That's the rule of thumb, especially in the world that we live in now. That's be safe than versus being sorry, and allow the authorities to check it out.
And doing what you did, you're just very aware. You know, if there anything got a little off, you know, you were very aware.
Yeah,
and you should pay attention to your surroundings. Don't just walk and act like, you know, you're the only one in the world, and you got your phone to your ear and you're listening to music and you're not paying attention to your surroundings. So it's very important, so that you will not become a victim, is for you to do some things to protect yourself. And again, just being aware of one's surroundings is one of the most important things that you can do.
And that brings up a thing to me, because we're talking about our kids a lot right here. Okay, earphones. Oh my goodness. Earbuds, earphones. I mean, you got any word on that about how to be aware with that on?
You know, everything has its place, okay? But if you're walking to school, that's not the time to have the earphones on, because you can't hear when you're crossing the street, you know, the things that are going on around you. If you are going to do it, maybe wear one earbud and then have, you know, where you can still hear, you know, other things that are going on. Our children are our most precious asset. So my mother taught me early on, watch your company. Okay, watch your company.
That's some old school
okay?
right there.
You know, you know, make sure you're hanging around good people who are doing the right thing. Okay, if you feel like you're being bullied, you've got to report it. You've got to tell somebody that you're being bullied. And you do have a right to defend yourself. You don't have to just let somebody beat up on you. But please report that and let an adult know what's going on. And when that adult is told, especially in our school system or wherever it may be, we want it to be addressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wanted to be addressed. We call it teasing coming up, okay? But it was bullying. Okay?
It was bullying.
It's bullying. That's the bottom line. And nobody likes to be bullied. Nobody likes to be bullied. So it has to be reported to the authorities. But when it is reported, expect for something to be done about it.
And there's so much right now with in the news and it's in our community, the sex trafficking issue. Okay, so I mean, we're all concerned for our children and for our teenagers. So you know, just any more wisdom on that? I mean,
so when our kids out and about, let's push them to use the buddy system. Don't go anywhere by yourself. And again, going back to what we talked about earlier, make sure somebody knows where you're going. Okay, so using that buddy system is one of the best ways to protect each other, look out for each other. You know, the world has changed, okay? And I'm sure there were creepy people when we were growing up. We didn't have all the information that we do now with social media, and we know where sex offenders live and so forth and so on. That information just was not really available, but it's available now. So use that, but use the buddy system. That's one of the best things an adolescent or youth can do.
What would you say to a kid? Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
What would you say to a kid who's, they said, you know, I'm afraid to tell on, you know, another kid at school or something because they're afraid that kid's gonna come back and hurt them later, or they're, you know, just that fear of that. Can you talk about that?
Well, you know, you just got to reassure them, and that if they do tell, that something is going to be done, or they may want to confide in a friend, and a friend go with them to report the behavior. Okay. But the only way the authorities or the authority figure, school or whoever it is, can do anything about it, they have to know about it. Okay. Or the parent has to know about it. Now, what we don't need the parent to do is go down to the school and get into a confrontation with the kid. You know, try to handle it in the most professional manner. You know, but you know, I'm a parent, and I guess you all are parents. You know, you don't want anybody to be bothering your kids. So yeah, you're gonna be upset, and understandably so. But sometimes you can make the situation worse. Now they're focusing on you. The way you're acting down at the school versus the situation that you're down there to talk about. And don't let the only time you come down to the school is when something is going wrong. How about you be an involved parent and go down to the school before something occurs?
Get on the PTA and all that kind of stuff.
Be an involved parent to the best of your ability. And we know parents have to work, some parents have to work. But when you have an opportunity to be involved in your kids' life, go down there and be involved in your kids' life, because that does help. That helps the overall school, and it helps the overall raising of that child.
And latchkey kids and all that kind of stuff. Tell us about it. I mean, because you talk about parents are working, so, and sometimes they're not home when the kids get home from school. So the kids get off the bus. You know, what's the safety thing there? Well,
like I said, they're latchkey kids. Lock that door. You don't ask that door for anybody.
Okay.
But also, we have to talk to our kids, and we got to put those parental guide things on our television, parental guidance on their phone, so you can monitor what your child is doing on that phone. You see, now the predator, he can come right, or she can come right through that phone, right into your home. Okay. So you, as a parent, we have a responsibility to monitor what our children do. Now, I don't know, when y'all were growing up, I couldn't lock a door in the house. You know, that's mama's house. She come right up, she want to come. You didn't own that, okay? All right. So we have to get back to that and monitor and raise your children. But there are some programs and applications that are out there where you can monitor the social media use of your child. And again, there are some parental guides on television that you can put on your television, so the kid can't watch certain things when you're not there.
That's excellent, because I think we have gotten away so much from policing our children, you know, really, and watching what they're looking at, and so everything's coming at them. And so we need to get back to that way of, you know, making sure, like you said, that you know those different apps or guards are on their phones, different things like that. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Because the thing I probably parented out of fear a lot of times, like, don't talk to strangers, don't look at the, you know, those kind of things that you say, and then I realized, oh my goodness, I probably instilled a little too much fear in my kids, like, you know, and I long to help parents know how to give their kids confidence instead of fear-based parenting. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's enough fear to go around in the world anyway, so that's why I wanted to talk. If they go in and go, I know I can do this, and that I can go talk to a friend and take that friend with me to an adult who I trust and talk about maybe somebody's bullying me, or somebody that I see suspicious when I walk home from school, or something that's making me unsettled. It's okay, you know.
And get your children, you know, I would encourage people to get your children involved in good, positive sports or things in your local churches or your civic organizations. There are so many things that are geared around for children, so that they have a positive outlet. So they're just not sitting around in the house with nothing to do. You know, get them out where they can get some exercise and to learn how to socially interact in a positive environment.
Right. Okay, so did you have another? I got one more thing. Do you have anything?
I was just gonna ask the question about how we can support, but if you have one more thing.
Well, I'm just gonna lead into that, and then you ask that question. Okay, so I have to tell you, so my husband and I bought this little house, and the way it's situated, where we're off of a main road, so often when a policeman is stopping somebody, they kind of pull them off and pull them right in front of our house, you know. So we see that just because of where we are, that just happens. But my husband sits on the front porch a lot. He's a porch rocker, and he goes out in the morning when it's warmer, and he'll pray and, you know, just have his quiet time with God in the morning. But he started doing this thing where every time he sees a police car, he started praying for the policeman. And praying for anybody who was getting pulled over as well. But the thing is, there was just so much stuff going on in the media today. Good cop, bad cop, and all this kind of stuff. He said, you know what? I'm just going to pray. Every time I see a police car, I'm going to pray for those policemen. And so, because I know that all this talk about safety, we can do all these things. We can do all these, we're going to have tips in there and everything. But ultimately, it comes down to trusting in God to protect us, you know, and that we're praying and that we have something bigger than ourselves, you know, that we're trusting in. So I wanted you to know that you get prayed for, but then leading into that question that you were getting ready to ask.
So piggybacking off of what Joy was stating, you know, because of the social climate that we're in, we know that the main focus is that everybody wants to get home safely.
Sure.
I've heard so many police officers say that, or first responders, citizens that are being pulled over. Everybody wants to get home. So I think what we want to know is how can we best support our local PD? Because you all are so important to our community. And, you know, no matter what anybody says, if you all did not exist, there would be pure chaos. So you have a very strong arm in the community that we need. And so what can we do as citizens to help support what you all do?
Well, I think the first thing is for everybody to take a deep breath. and to understand that, again, as you stated, everybody wants to go home. The citizen wants to go home, the officer wants to go home. But our job is to protect and serve this community. And that's the pledge that we have taken. That's the pledge that police officers across this nation have taken. And they go out each and every day to serve their various communities. The way citizens can help is, you know, get involved in your community in positive ways. Get involved in things that the police department may do. Here at the North Precinct, we do a North Precinct block party. The whole reason for that event is to build relationships with our community. So get involved with things that the police department may be doing. Do some things in your own community to raise awareness, safety awareness, some things like what you're doing here today to put out a positive information on how people can take care of themselves. And also give back to your schools and your communities. If you have time to volunteer, volunteer in some shape, form, or fashion, especially with our youth, because they're our future. Okay? And so oftentimes our future is determined by our children. So if you're giving back to our future, that helps the overall community to make sure that the next generation that's coming up is prepared. So those are some of the best things that you can do to help the police department and to understand that the police department, we're not here to be anyone's enemy. We're here to protect the community. And we, first of all, we have a responsibility to come to you, the citizen, to say, hey, how can we best help you? Okay? And then we can come up with a prescription to help whatever may be going on in the neighborhood. But if you don't build those relationships, and if you don't maintain those relationships, and continue to build public trust, then our system is broken.
Exactly.
So we have a responsibility and our citizens have a responsibility. But if we work together, I think we can really do some great things.
I love it. And some people don't even know a police officer, and that's what I was excited about coming out here today, because like you want to know a police officer personally, you know, because all these stereotypes, everybody just has all these stereotypes, you know, about police officers and all the things going on right now. And well, do you know one? You know, do you know what they deal with? Do you know why they did this? And
well, get to know the man or the woman that is behind the badge.
Yes.
We preach here and we teach here. That badge doesn't make you.
Right.
You make that badge. But you have a tremendous responsibility.
Right.
You have a tremendous responsibility that the public has given you. And so hold that badge with great regard. Hold that badge with honor, courage, integrity, professionalism, whatever your department's core values are. Hold that to be true. And always try to do the right thing. There's no right way to do wrong.
That's true.
There's no right way to do wrong. But always try to do the right thing. And a reasonable person will see you to be who you are. Okay? And that's just human interaction, period. Let us not judge each other. Let us not judge each other or judge a book by its cover. Get to know the individual. And you might just find out that you made a friend.
I don't think I can add anything to that.
Well, I'm going to add
a mic drop moment.
I'm going to add one more thing.
Okay.
Usually we all kind of toast with one of these little guys right here. So we're going to ask you to
pick your favorite color.
Blue is my favorite color. As you can see,
that
I've got my blue on.
Mine too.
Okay, I'm going down with that. I love purple, and there's no purple in here, so I'm going with red. Okay.
All right.
Cheers. Thanks for meeting us in the middle.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
Salute.